people are blaming him, saying, "Oh, it's his fault because he lied. He's doing it." But like, what's the big conversations? We don't really.
That'll openly.
How many people really stop Robertsons? Are you gonna talk?
I'm Kareem.
I'm sorry. That's it.
And we are coming to you live right now to discuss trending topics.
Oh.
First topic, R. Kelly.
Ooh.
Yeah, ooh. So, of course, as everyone knows, R. Kelly is currently in jail after turning himself in. And what is your stance on this, Miss Star?
Miss Robertson.
Oh,
sir.
Miss Star Robertson.
Okay. He should burn.
He should burn, that's it. That's all the thoughts you had?
I don't have anything on him, per se.
Okay,
Like,
you still gonna listen to his music? Put you on the spot?
that's a hard question.
Hard question. Speaking for myself, and people can crucify me if they want, I'm still going to listen to his music, for the simple fact that when it comes to certain situations like this, first of all, whenever I am a fan of of anything anybody does, that's exactly it. I'm a fan of their body of work. I'm not a fan of them personally for the simple fact that you have situations like this. Don't take everything for face value. So that's why I just save myself from, I don't know, I guess feeling some type of guilt for being a fan of the person, because it's like you get into this confliction where it's like, man, I really invested so much in this person as far as being a fan, being a listener, or whatever art that they do.
Right.
So that's why like I said, I just save myself from that dilemma, that confliction, that disappointment, that betrayal, I guess if you want to say. And I just stick to being a fan of whatever body of work they do. And for R. Kelly, he has a great body of work. No one can dispute that. No one can refute it. We obviously know. But obviously with what he's done personally, doing what he's done to these women, it's inexcusable. It's obviously despicable. And he should, obviously get what he deserves.
But I feel like
so.
I completely get where you're coming from about being a fan of someone. I totally do, because like I feel like there are some people that I'm a fan of, to the point that if they did something like this, I would be upset, and I could say that I'm a fan of their character, and I'm a fan of LeBron James' character. LeBron James has done so much stuff outside of basketball, and like so many commendable things that I don't think that I could be a fan of his or watch his basketball games or anything he does if he did something as despicable. It's so hard because he's talented. He's very talented, and there's so many things that there's just so many people. Like, if you want to stop fanning someone and stop listening to their music and stuff of that nature, then we'd got to stop Michael Jackson. We'd have to stop Chris Brown. We'd have to stop, who else do I really think of right now, music-wise?
No one comes to mind right now.
Right. And I feel like it kind of hurts. It kind of hurts to... It kind of hurts, like, if you say, I still listen to him. I mean, I get it. You're going to get the backlash, and you're going to get the hate and all that good shit that comes along with it. But I think that you're right. I think that being a fan of his body of work is... Kanye West, for example. How many people really stop listening to Kanye West? Kanye West has Jesus Walks and Through the Wire and so many other songs. Like, Late Registration is a really good album. But it's like, for real, like the shit that Kanye West does, people, oh, he's canceled. I'm tired of this canceled.
I mean, speaking for myself personally, I haven't listened to a Kanye song in a very long time. And I was a huge Kanye fan. But after he went on that craze, consistency.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Great mental breakdown.
I wasn't done with my point.
Okay. Take the floor.
I'm just saying in the sense of People aren't. I'm tired of canceling culture. Like, you're canceling a person, but you're not canceling their body of work. Like, you're still wearing Yeezys. You're still wearing the homeless bummy look or replicas of the homeless bummy look. Like, so what's the difference with R. Kelly? Because R. Kelly is, you don't have to buy his music if you already own it. Listen to it.
Right.
If it's not putting, I get it. You're saying you don't want to put money in your pocket, but we've been putting money in his pocket since he married Aaliyah, and that's when it really started for me. She was 15. He was however the hell old he was. And we still bought the albums. Like, we knew when he pissed on the girl and paid the whole jury to get off, we still bought the albums and supported him. So why should we go ahead and be like, oh, no, now we're not? Because there's a documentary? Because it's what the society is telling us to do now? Because it's trending on the internet to cancel R. Kelly? Or because if I don't cancel R. Kelly's music, y'all gonna hate me and now I gotta worry about what people are saying? Like, he should have been canceled. If your beliefs are your core beliefs are because what he's doing as a human is despicable. He's been despicable since, like I said, marrying Aaliyah. So, should we fault ourselves for not canceling him since then? That's a question.
Oh, you're asking me?
You
can
answer the question.
Should we fault ourselves?
Can I scoot us up if you don't mind? We're gonna scoot.
Okay.
I don't like this light in the back. Much better. All right. Babe, you.
What am I doing now?
You know what you got into doing this with me.
I forgot what I was gonna say now.
You stopped listening to Kanye's music when he had the mental breakdown.
I don't think I was gonna say, but okay. Yeah, when Kanye had that supposed mental breakdown, and he was just going on this rampage and saying how slavery was a choice, which obviously wasn't the case. You know, our ancestors didn't voluntarily come here to work for free and build the wealth of this nation without receiving any compensation at all. We didn't volunteer to do that at all. So when he said that immediately just let me know the ignorance and the buffoonery that he was partaking in. So with that being said, you know, I put aside me being a fan of his body of work, and I just completely canceled him. I mean, obviously, my people was more important than one particular person who I thought was a representative for my people doing something that can, you know, sabotage them, as you will, by saying all the wrong things when they're well aware of what they're about to say can be very damaging to us overall. So that was just my take on that.
I mean, since we're swiveling into that, I don't like Kanye West. As a person, I never really did. I don't know him, but he had a high level of I don't give a fuck attitude that is needed to maintain your dignity in the line of work that he's in. Mm-hmm. And I respected that about him. Like, you know, Bush don't care about the black people, like cutting people off, telling people like, listen, yeah, you guys love Taylor Swift, but Beyonce should win this award. Like the level of, I guess you could say, disrespect that he needed to be at. I'm not gonna say he needed to be at, but you know, there was no one like him doing it. He wasn't, no one else was using their stage to oppose the white industry, I guess you can say. And I respected that about him. I truly, truly did. I wasn't with all of his antics forever. I feel like he's always had antics. He's a good artist, but I mean, it's whatever. I don't know.
I feel like with Kanye, it's like a seesaw. You know that saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I feel like sometimes with him, it's, listen, you know, you have to, it is what you say. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's like, I feel like it's a seesaw with him when it comes to that. You know, because me personally, when he said that on live TV about George Bush not caring about black people, I felt like that was what was needed to be said.
Right.
Because it was obvious.
Right.
And people people might have felt that, he shouldn't have said that, and the way he said it wasn't right. But I felt like across the board, what he said was right, and how he said it was right.
My thing with Kanye West is that we do really need to realize that Kanye West is and should be the face of mental instability. We all have that one person that's just like them in our family that the family will justify and excuse, but society doesn't. And I think that that's what he is. He's the one family member that everyone is excusing, but society isn't. And I'm not gonna say society isn't, because us as a culture, we're still supporting and still claiming that he's doing it as a marketing plan, and he's doing it to get sales, and I don't care. I don't care about Kanye West.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So let's fast forward. Fuck R. Kelly. He deserves to go down and burn. Period. Point blank. I still like bump and grind, I guess, but that's so ignorant. That's terrible.
Also, with the R. Kelly thing, and I think what we need to do is not immediately believe what the media puts out.
Oh no.
I think that was one of the biggest things with the Bill Cosby situation. Speaking, if we're going to talk about the
Hold on, what do you mean don't believe what anybody puts out?
What the media puts out.
All right.
Don't believe everything. Like, do your own research. Don't take everything for face value.
Babe, he married a 15-year-old girl.
Do your own I'm not talking about that in particular. I'm talking about just in general.
I get what you're saying,
a lot of people take
but
what the media says.
So what part of the media's take on the R. Kelly situation?
I'm not saying anything. What I'm saying, pretty much what I'm saying is be a free thinker. Because now we live in a society where everybody just tags on board. Everybody jumps on board. Nobody does free thinking. And if you do free thinking, automatically, because you're a free thinker and you're going against the grain, people start to scrutinize you. They start to label you an outcast because you're not conforming to everybody else's convictions. So that's what I'm saying, especially with the media. The media has had incidents where they have fabricated things, they have lied. For example, the Central Park Five. Everyone thought that those black men did that to that white woman. And come to find out, they didn't. But yet, the President of the United States now, at the time he wasn't, said that those black men did it, even when it was proven that they didn't. A lot of people jumped on board to the story that the media was putting out there, and everyone was just on the same page. And then to come and find out, it wasn't true. What those men were alleged of doing, they didn't do. But because it was this massive outcry by the public, they obviously proceeded with, at the time, punishment for those men for allegedly doing something they didn't do. So that's what I'm saying by that. I'm not saying that as of this moment R. Kelly didn't. I'm not defending. If he did it, then obviously he deserves what's coming to him. Simple as that. I'm not condoning anything he did. Not victim shaming. I'm not supporting rape culture. I'm not doing any of that. What I'm simply saying is do your own research. Be a free thinker. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, pretty much.
Oh my goodness. Let's go there. So, you get a lot of flack when you speak your mind on these situations because of everything that you just said.
Right, because I question it. I question a lot of things. If it don't make sense to me, I'm going to question it. And what's wrong with that? If something don't make sense to you, you're going to question it.
Why are we not focused?
Don't feel as if you have to go along just to get along. That's the problem nowadays. Everybody feels like they have to go along and get along, even when it's clear as day that something just doesn't add up. And I'm of that cloth. I'm cut from that cloth to where I'm a free thinker. If something don't make sense to me, I'm going to ask questions.
I just think that with the... I think that certain things, like how I just got offended about the R. Kelly situation, I feel like certain things, when you question the opposing side, like what you do, when you do research or when you look into something, you as a person, you question the mainstream pretty much. So if everyone is saying, "Oh my God, R. Kelly did it," you're questioning, "Well, why did he did it? When did you see? Well, why do you think he did it? Not why did he do it? Why do you think he did it? What proof are you using to say that he did this? Where did you get that from? What source did it come from?" And a lot of people are just like, not into really doing that. So like, there's people who were attacking the people who didn't believe Jussie Smollett before it came out that it was an inaccurate story. There were people that were attacking the people who said, "I don't stand with him until I hear the rest of the story," because they're like, "You need to stand with him." And it's like the same situation. Everybody jumped on board and is apologizing and praying for him and hoping that he feels better. And then there's the people that are like you, are just like, okay, well, what was he doing at a Subway at 2 o'clock in the morning? Like, why, if he's such a big star, why is he in the dangerous streets of Chicago by himself? Like, why couldn't he just Uber eat something? You know what I mean? Like, there was people who had those questions, and if they threw bleach on him, how did he see that they were wearing MAGA hats and that they were this and that they were that? And it's just like, But when the story first came out, there were people who were like, it don't sound right. And then there were people who were just, no, fuck that. These are Trump supporters. That's what they do. We gotta be with Jussie, and hardcore ride die and putting their support in being ride or die, I guess you could say. And they didn't even think about the facts. Like, I mean, I didn't speak on it. I felt like I didn't care. Not that I didn't care that he was attacked. I just knew, again, that there was other things in the media that were playing out. I feel like you get all of this outcry and all of this outpour for someone who's getting attacked, which is, I'm sorry, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you live in the city of Chicago and there's like 100 shootings a day and 6 or 7 killings, and out of the killings, it's 2 or 3 black children, like, I don't really put myself into caring that much about a person who got attacked, and the details to me don't add up. When, again, all of Chicago's police force is putting their effort into debunking his story and not putting their effort into solving the murders and stopping the crime. Like, there's so many other things that these police officers and these detectives and these things could be doing, and people are blaming him, saying, "Oh, it's his fault because he lied, he's doing it." But, like, what's the bigger picture? Who put this man, and I'm not saying that he didn't do it on his own, but I mean, what's his narrative? What's his point? What does he gain by doing this? And now there's so many other stories. They're like, oh, because he's mad because he didn't get raised. I mean, he's been on that show for 5-6 years now. The show's declining. I highly doubt a lot of them got the raise that they asked for. You have them saying, oh, because there was a letter that was written in and he didn't like. He's gay. He's a gay black man. He's a gay black man in the public eye. He played an openly gay black man on a TV show before he even came out as gay. He was getting hate one handwritten letter is not going to make him do this. All of the hate that he was getting. There's black people who will not watch Empire because they don't want to watch they don't want to watch that gay shit. They're not into that. You know what I'm saying? And he was one of when he first kissed me on that show, I know everybody was like, the fuck? And there's a lot of people who just don't do it. And then even in the show, the character goes through a lot. And that's what he goes through coming out as gay. So I highly doubt that one fucking letter made him decide that this is what he's going to do. I really do believe that there is people who pay people to distract our people. And I feel like he's one of those distractions. For the past week, you could not go on your Instagram or your Twitter or your Facebook and scroll down without seeing a meme or his mugshot or the Nigerian men. Again, he hired Nigerian men. He hired people from the shithole countries to pretend that they were white. Doesn't add up. Doesn't make sense. Seems like a higher agenda to me. But anyway, the whole month of Black History Month is always a distraction. Before they even do this anyway, you have every single award show. You have every possible party to lead up to these award shows. And then you have 18 million winter storms. So it's just like there's always been a distraction in Black History Month when they realize that we don't give a fuck about the Grammys, we don't give a fuck about the Oscars, we don't give a fuck about whoever else they fucking give us award to, Super Bowl, whatever. They realize that, okay, well, how do we get their attention again? Because who's watching the fucking Oscars? What they're trying to do to get us to watch the Oscars? They gave Spike Lee an Oscar after how many years?
And that goes to show you how much I watch TV nowadays. I didn't even know the Oscars was on. Even if I did, I still wouldn't have watched it because
they just
pretty much it's just. Come on, it's just revering white actors and actresses.
Exactly.
It's just a white award show.
But they trying
with
to
a black statue, might I add, because that Oscar is nothing more than a duplicate of the ancient Egyptian god Ptah. You do your research, so
I think
just
it's
my
bullshit.
take on it. So.
They give the first award of the night to a black woman. They give Spike Lee an Oscar because they're trying to get you back into it.
It's just the makeups, that's all.
It's not makeups.
It's just
it's trying to get us back into it because we don't give a fuck.
For them looking over obviously talented black actors, directors, black actresses.
It doesn't matter.
There was what was it? Was it the Oscars one time? It was like all white actors and actresses nominated for awards.
Will Smith and Jada boycotted and stuff like that.
And my thing is that, like, with all these affluent black actors, actresses, just black affluent people in Hollywood, why are we sitting here complaining about the Oscars? Why don't we pull our money and resources that I know we have and create an award show that obviously would rival the Oscars? But I also understand that if we were to take that action to true empowerment, that there will be some ramifications for those who do have the money and stuff like that. So I do understand that they have to protect their interests and their possessions due to that fear.
Yeah, but when does protecting your interest and your protections come to just bowing down to them? When does the fear, like Monique and Steve Harvey, when does the fear of losing everything that you've never had because they gave it to you, so it stops you from doing what you can do with everything that you've never had to help us?
Pretty much what Monique said in the Steve Harvey show. We've traded in since we've gotten the money. Since we've gotten the pay increase, we've traded our integrity for the money, and you see it. The only two people that I can think on that will stand on their principles and their integrity are very few, such as Monique, such as Colin Kaepernick, such as D.L. Hughley, such as Eddie Griffin, and so on and so on. So it's definitely not like the 1960s where you had people like, Muhammad Ali around that time, where racial tensions were very intense openly. Nowadays you don't have that Muhammad Ali type. You don't have that Kareem Abdul type. You don't have that Jim Brown type. You don't have that Jack Johnson type that'll, openly speak out to the powers that be and let them know that the mistreatment that we continuously receive is unacceptable. With them knowing that they're jeopardizing their fortunes, they still don't care because obviously they know that although they are affluent actors, actresses, athletes, they know that they carry the responsibility of representing the community. Because at that time they understood that they're not just representing them. Although it is them individually at these positions, they also understand that they are representatives of a community. And whatever happens to the community, whatever affects the community affects them. Nowadays, now that we've gotten that pay increase, we've taken on more of an individualistic mindset to where blacks, they get this money, they get these possessions, they get these fortunes, and they disassociate themselves with people like us who are low class, middle class. When they don't realize, as one black person, I can't remember if it was Ice-T or Ice Cube, and I quote him saying, they don't realize we're just one big nigger in the eyes of the powers that be. no matter if we're rich, poor, light skin, dark skin, male, female, gay, straight. We're just all in the same boat.
Exactly.
And they will remind us of that when they feel the time is necessary.
And and they could, whether you utilize it the right way or you don't utilize it at all, they still have the power to take it from you. And prime example is, I'm not going to say prime example, but, not to bring the guy back up, but R. Kelly, and I'm not going to bring him up. I feel like if we fight and we stick together and we work at it, we can be bigger than what we are. We are more. Like, there's more to us than what they put in these movies and in these TV shows and in the media. Like, you have people like LeBron James who are building public schools and like, they're not out here just doing nothing. You have a Colin Kaepernick who, he stood for what he believed in, and he donated his time, he donated his money, he donated his energy, and he did it silently. He was doing a lot of the donations and things that he was doing before the kneeling situation, and he maintained doing that even after he lost his job and he lost his source of income. He still made sure that he didn't lose himself, and I hate to see these people talking about how he doesn't speak, or he's not talking, or he's not standing up for anything. And it's like, the loudest in the room doesn't always have the most to say. And yeah, he stood back. Sometimes he didn't speak up, but his actions spoke, and he did things that he didn't need to talk about. He just did them. That's just period, point blank. That's the end of it. And he got this money, and everyone's like, oh, let's see what he does with it. He honestly, who gives a fuck what he does with it? He worked his ass off while he was working, and he donated and gave to and gave back and did so much more when he was working, that even lost his job doing so much, standing for what he believes in, and not having anybody of our skin stand with him. Or, I'm not going to say anybody, but for a time period there was a lot of people. There's only a handful of NFL players, like I think it's Eric Reed, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
The other person who also got fired that people are not even acknowledging. Like, not to take away from Colin Kaepernick, but his teammate Eric Reed also lost his job, and they're both in that settlement. They both got compensated, but at the end of the day, no one really rode with him in the way that they said they would. Like, I hear all these people who were on board, blah, 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 talking all this shit until the NFL started, and how many of you really boycotted? How many of you really stuck to it? How many of you really stopped paying for anything NFL? Like, if we took our dollars away from the NFL, and if our players took their plays away from the NFL, there'd be nothing left. We are the NFL, essentially. We are black entertainment. We are what they want to see on TV, and if we took it away from them, what do they have? Even fucking reality TV. We are the reality TV. We're the ratchet hip hop in Hollywood and Housewives of Atlanta. Like, we are all of that. So, like, when do we really give the credit to the people who actually are living what they say, or whatever the case may be? But, like, I don't know. I don't. I feel like it really sucks, because, again, you have good people with money who they hold down. And what I mean by that, is, like, you have, like, the Moniques of the world, and you have the Moniques, the Colin Kaepernicks, the Aaron Reeds. Like, you have the people who stand up and they kick you down, and it's the fight that you have to get back up. And Colin Kaepernick fought that fight every day when he got back up, even when no one was on his side, even when, he didn't know where his next source of income was. It didn't matter. He still was donating his time and his energy, even though he wasn't getting a paycheck. And I'm not going to say it like that. He probably saved money, but, like, how many of us would really do that? Like, today, if I lost my job or you lost your job, would you donate your time? You were in Miracle on Craig Street. So if you lost your job, would you stop going to Miracle on Craig Street because you lost your job?
No.
Right. But there's a lot of people that would. There's a lot of people that, well, if I don't have, how can they have? But it's not always about what you can put your money into is really about what we do, and I don't think we do enough sometimes. I genuinely don't.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And as I stated before, we've allowed the money to buy our integrity, and as a result, you see.
I got integrity and no money.
Oh boy.
You know what though? Go ahead. I'm not gonna cut you off.
No, go ahead. I want to know what.
I meant to say this guy Jay Morrison. I wanted to bring his name up too because I feel like Jay Morrison doesn't get the recognition that he deserves, and he does so much. He does a lot. Sometimes I think it's too much. He asks for too much, but that's just me being frugal. But I feel like he does a lot for the community. Him with Nipsey Hussle, 21 Savage started to do a lot for the community, and then he got wrapped up in his situation. He was working with Jay Morrison. Like there's a lot of people who do good, and the recognition is not there for them. And you know what? They're not searching for it either. But I think that we need to give it to them. We as a culture need to really realize the people who are trying to build back the Black Wall Street, the people who are trying to bring back black dollars, like We Buy Black. Like it shouldn't have took for Killer Mike's trigger warning to come out for us to even know about We Buy Black. And I mean, it sucks because how many people have really did it.
But that's the thing, though, and it's better now than never.
True.
Better late than never. But at the same time, one thing that we have a tendency of doing is knowing that there are certain institutions, establishments that are available literally at our fingertips, meaning cell phone, social media, etc., and we'll still BS around and we still won't support.
That's very true.
Yesterday, I read a quote that someone shared by one of our great Black liberation fighters, Dr. Amos Wilson, and he said Black people have one of the longest boycotts ever, and that's boycotting Black businesses. And that was just it was so true, and it really hit me like, wow, that is just so true, and it's so sad that we won't boycott these establishments, these white establishments that won't even hire us, and they'll continue to disrespect us, but we'll still support them by going to their businesses, making impulse purchases, and even when it's clear as day they're disrespecting us, they degrade us, we'll make every excuse in the book to continue to support them. Meanwhile, we also make excuses not to support our own. And then we wonder why we're in this continuous cycle of being a long time underclass and non-competitive. It's because we're not putting our dollars where they need to be, and that's amongst our own, which is nothing wrong whatsoever, because the Asian dollar circulates the Asian business, the Asian community. Jewish dollar circulates the Jewish community, Latino community, etc., and it's not racist, it's not anti this, it's just self-preservation, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone is entitled to be selfish for their own survival. Everyone is entitled to that.
Right, but imagine if we stopped being selfish as a Black community and we came together, we could enrich ourselves for so many more years than we have. Like, we are a lot of the consumer dollars that are out there.
Absolutely.
And we take a logo and we classify this logo with wealth, status, and a high standard. And like, you broke your back for a $5,000 jacket and you live in LA because the standard of society's wealth is to live in California or to live in New York City, and then the look of the year was a $5,000 jacket that you're never even going to wear because you live in LA. Yeah. And it's like, what could you have done with that $5,000?
And that's all propaganda.
Right.
In many facets. Like, you have hip hop, or I'm gonna call it rap because it ain't hip hop nowadays, because a lot of people don't know hip hop is an acronym, and it means higher infinite power healing our people. And that's not what you're seeing nowadays with the lyrical content that's being put out there.
Lyrical content.
With the exception of certain artists. But you have these artists coming out here that are pretty much, they're marketers. they're brand representatives, and they're presenting these brands to the public and showing them and conveying this message that this is what it's about. It's about this Louis belt. It's about this Gucci scarf. It's about these, I don't know what kind of shoes they wear that are expensive nowadays, but they convey this message and lead them into this mindset that this is what it's about. It's about consumption, but it's not about production. Like, what can you produce? What
And
can you
they lead
possess?
them down
Like
this,
real wealth.
and information wealth. That's
Right.
really what it is. But they lead them down this path of bad credit, bankruptcy, like
And it's in the songs. Get the, blow a bag, spin it like it's your last, blow money fast. It's literally in the lyrics of the song. They're telling you to do this.
right. And then you have people like Nipsey Hussle, for example, who says, what did he say? $1 million on my flesh.
$1 million life insurance on my flesh. He said that, and that had me thinking, and it had me pursue getting life insurance for me. And, stuff like
and that's
that.
what you
Lyrics.
need. Like, that's what you need. You need, like, and, well, since we're talking about music, I just feel like I don't listen to rap that much. I mean, of course, I get the songs that are played on the radio constantly, over and over,
Which
stuck
is
in my
done on
head, and
purpose.
I'll go and I'll listen to it because that's just the music that's around you. But you look at rap from back in the day. You look, especially women rap. You look at the empowerment. You have UNITY. You have Love Is Blind, which is one of my favorite rap songs of all time. But it's like, she's like, listen, you're beating the shit out of my sister, and I'm telling her that she needs to get away from it. Like, you have messages in these songs, and you just don't have that anymore. And if you do have it, they're not idolizing it. They're not overplaying it. Like, you have to search for it. You have to find it. I mean, yeah, you have your Kendricks and you have your J. Cole's and, Jay-Z drop 444 or whatever, but it's like, yeah, Jay-Z's dropping 444 and he's dropping that knowledge, but I mean, this is the same guy who started us thinking that being on the corner selling crack is the way to go. So our kids are so used to that being their logo, like, not their logo, but their motto. Like, a Jay-Z album from back in the day is going to be my motto, and I'm out here in these streets, and it's like, how am I going to ever get there if I can't rap? So yes, they may get older and take his advice, but the younger children are not, because that's just not, to them, it's just not understood, and it's something that we have to build in our children at home, and we can't, I'm not going to say we can't allow the music to, but it's like, there's not real talent out there anymore, and it's very unfortunate. It's like, it really sucks, actually. There's a lot of ways to go about it. There's a lot of ways to go about changing it, but our music is terrible. And as you say, hip-hop is not hip-hop, and it's fucked up. Women in hip-hop are fucked up. I feel like men in hip-hop are clowns. We don't have an idol. We don't have a Common. We don't have a Mos Def. We don't have a, what's her name? Queen Latifah. We don't have a Lauryn Hill. Hell no. We don't have none of that now. And it's like, what do we have? What do we have? And it was ours. That was one thing that was ours. And it's just so easily sold. It's so easily sold. But I want to go back to something really quick before I forget. T.I.'s sister. His sister passed away. T.I. sent him, posted on his Instagram the last message from his sister and why he said he's going to stay on Gucci's neck. But I can't pull it up because where she worked. And where she was working, she's like, Gucci made a line just for rappers. She's like, because they were capitalizing off of them. Basically saying, like, if you go into a Gucci store, you're not going to see the stuff in the Gucci store in New York for sale that you see these rappers wearing. Because the line was commercialized for the rappers, but that's not their main clientele. Like, the acidity-ass white people that buy it are not buying the items that they're overly pricing and making shitty to sell to us. So I guess that's just what I wanted to say to end it. What do you feel about that?
I mean, as far as us purchasing these expensive clothes and possessions that really have no value, I mean, it's deeper than what it appears. I mean, it's just us. Clearly, it shows the low self-esteem that we had And by buying these high-priced possessions, we feel that we're adding value to ourselves. It's just an outcry for us to have people look at us, to pay attention to us. We want that validation.
True, but it's also to make our people feel some type of way, because if we have the newest this, newest that, then our people look at us and we gotta be money making and we gotta be balling. Sorry.
Right, and that's the false impression. That's a misconception that a lot of us have. We feel that just because this person has the newest trend, the newest attire, the hottest attire, that obviously they must be making it, or they have some money. Broke people wear some expensive stuff. They do.
And rich people wear cheap shit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they understand that it's not about really what you wear. It's how you wear it. That's one thing I learned. It's not about what you wear. It's how you wear it. You can make a $5 shirt, $10 shirt look like $100 shirt.
Well, baby, you can make anything look
depending
good.
on, huh?
You can make anything look good.
Depending on, I guess, your way of just putting together an outfit. So
it's about swag.
Pretty much.
That's an old school word.
Pretty much. So
I don't give a damn. I wear $5 shoes all the time. Catch me outside in my $5 shoes.
We just don't have that understanding because of us not coming into the knowledge, the right knowledge, because that's mostly what it is, a lack of knowledge of how to go about certain things. But once we do come across that knowledge, then we'll approach things differently. We'll start making better decisions. But I think that us spending this amount of money that honestly we don't have, or we could be putting it towards something more beneficial that's going to give us a return on our financial investment,
We need to spend more money on education. We need to spend, and I don't mean education like school. I mean, if we spend enough money, you don't need to spend money on it, but information as well. And that's a big thing. And there's books there's a book that you want right now. It's like almost $300, and you're going to get it because you know that information is worth it to you. Mm-hmm. And there's a person, I guess you could say anyway, some other people where they see a book for $300. The fuck am I spending $300 on a used book? I'm not spending $300 on a used book. Nah, I could get some sneakers with that. You know what I'm saying? To walk and be mindless and have no education. So you have to spend your money on educating yourself. Like, who teaches you about credit, and who teaches you about savings, and who teaches you about things of that nature. It costs money. It costs money to buy the information that you need to save the money and continue to grow the wealth, whether you do it with the paper, but you can't do it without the education. You have people like Kelly, who's currently in jail, and he can't bail himself out because he doesn't have the money, because he had the wealth, but he never had the information. And he wrote a whole song about it called I Admit, where he didn't have any information. He didn't know how to save, invest, contribute, keep a constant flow of income. There's no revenue. You have people like Floyd Mayweather, who has a shit ton of money. I don't know how many investments he has, but I don't see... I see him fighting. Every time he fights for 50 million more. I don't see him able to 100% retire, because every time he says he needs to retire, his lifestyle catches up to him, and then he's fighting for some more. You know what I mean? And it's like, if he didn't... You have people like 50 Cent, who invested in water and clothing companies, and other people, movie industries.
Right,
50 Cent was he wrote co-wrote a book series, started a TV show. He started a TV show, got canceled, started another TV show, started another one, pitched movies. He's he really knew how to invest his money, and and he understood that information was wealth, and he educated himself on that with his money to continue to grow his money. I'm not saying that Floyd will ever be broke. I'm just saying, you could see Floyd at 60, he needed $50,000 and doing a fight.
And obviously in the profession that he is, like other sports, Father Time is undefeated. And that's a lot of wear and tear on your body. And as you get older, your body goes through changes. You can't move as fast. You can't punch as hard as you used to. You're not going to have that same agility when you get to that age where, it's just not the same. So I think that does come from a lack of knowledge. But I think hopefully, I would hope that he does come across the right knowledge base. And I feel like you said with 50 Cent, he came across that knowledge base, him and Jay-Z, and obviously you see that knowledge base being manifested in their investments that could bring them back money. You know,
Residual.
cycle the money. You know,
Residual income.
And that's what wealth is, from what I've learned. At this moment, I haven't experienced it, but eventually, at some point in time, we will. But that's what it's about: investing in things that are going to give you a return on your investment. They call it ROI. So you could obviously see through 50 Cent and Jay-Z and others that they've come across that knowledge base and they understand the game. And one thing I did learn from someone who was wealthy, they made a statement by saying it pays to play. So you have to make that $300 investment into something to get that knowledge that can change your life and better your life for as long as you live, and then you can pass that on down to your family. But we get caught up in so much of the materialistic things that we think is wealth when it's not. It's just materialistic things that depreciate in value as time goes.
And on that note, we'll give you some more of our knowledge on another video.
Peace.
No, you didn't say peace. In the Middle East?
No. Northeast.
Bye, guys. Hopefully you like us enough to join, click, subscribe, love, whatever it is that you do. Send us comments on things we should talk about next time, future times. We have pretty big plans for our conversations. We don't really have plans. We just talk. And we got dope conversations. So if you like a good conversation and you like knowledge, wealth, and health, then, not health because I don't like health. But, we might be the place to be. So we'll be back with another video Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Looking forward to it.
No, he's not. You see that excitement? Hopefully we will be able to have a recorded video on a camera. If we don't have it on the camera, maybe we'll have it on the cell phone. If we don't have it on the cell phone, we will definitely have it on audio. Thank you guys for listening. See you on Sunday.